Welcome, 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 welcome. Before, do not turn us off. Please don't turn us off. Before you click the stop button or you move on to another video, you have not made a mistake. You are indeed in another episode of Walking with the Master, of course, with Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad. Now, you looking at me, you probably saying, that's not Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad. You are absolutely correct, because I have the privilege, being a student of Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad, to have this discussion about a jewel of a historical event that took place. And so I get the honor and the privilege of asking some questions and sitting in and learning along with you all. So with no further delay, this is the man that you all know. This is the man that you tuned in for. I'd like to introduce and bring to you our beloved teacher, Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad. How are you, sir?
And I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You know, it's a little strange being on this side of the camera.
Who are you telling? Well, first of all, Jim, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to have this discussion. The words of Denzel Washington come to mind, I believe, in Training Day, and that's how I feel about myself. I'm in the privileged position to learn a thing or two. So I'll keep my eyes open and my mouth shut as we have this dialogue. And so I appreciate that. And I'm going to kick it off because I know everybody is anxious to know what this dialogue is about. And so we're going to go back about 33 years, wow. September of 1990. Grandmaster, you did something, and I have never seen this done before. But you decided, of course, and you were inspired to have a tribute. Now, it's called the Tribute to the Master, but you had our beloved part of our lineage, Grand Professor V, as the focal point. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you and what drove you to put on such an event of monumental magnitude?
You are the man who put together this event. What was your idea in putting this together?
Well, I'd like to say it escalated. The first idea was to give my professor, my grand professor, Professor V, some honor, because this is his 80th year on the planet and his 70th year in martial arts. So I decided that we have never given him anything to this level, and I felt like I should go out as far as I could and give him honor. And it went from there to honoring Professor Moses Powell, which is my teacher from a little boy. And once I did that, I said that I couldn't bring them together without bringing other masters throughout the martial art world. And once I brought, and bringing them together, I knew that we would develop something that would be awesome and unstoppable.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. I want to first say that the primary teacher, the focal point for this event was him. But my introduction to him was through my teacher, Dr. Moses Powell. Of course, at that time, I believe it was Professor Moses Powell at the time. And he was one to make sure that we had, that we were introduced to his teacher. He always introduced him. So I got an opportunity to study, being a student of his for many years. I was able to be exposed to Grand Professor Florindo Visitacion. And in addition to that, Soke Little John Davis, Master at that time, Master Little John Davis, but Soke Little John Davis was someone who I was exposed to. So I began to do the same thing. So this individual, Grand Professor Florindo Visitacion, that's how I identify him. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because I always want to honor my teachers. So I was able to be taught by him due to my teacher, Dr. Moses Powell, and I was able to study under Soke Littlejohn because of him. And due to, through all of that, I was able to see these genuine and beautiful men that was so profound and so fantastic. I just felt like, let's honor the one who kicked it all off, the one who introduced my teacher. So I wanted to give him some honor.
When I was young, I had a little instruction from my brother and my uncle. And then I left home in 1926, went to Hawaiian Islands. And then 1928, I went to California. I stayed in California until World War II. Then I was in the service for about 3 years. After 3 years, then of course I was discharged. In 1955, I started teaching the martial arts. I had a textbook of military textbook, and the introductory part of the book said that this book is composed of boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo. So I said there are different styles. So that was in my mind. When I started teaching, then I tried to correlate them. That's how the system began.
That is absolutely beautiful. And I have to say just a little small caveat, as a student of yours, we and any of the students out there can bear witness, us, as far as treatment of you goes, you have never been one to tell us or demand that we refer to you as Grandmaster. Although that is what Doc gave you, what happened was we had an opportunity to see you and how you treated your teachers. And when Doc gave you that title, I remember that day because of the foundation that you set for us on how you treat your lineage and how you treat your teachers. We fell right into that code of conduct, and it was just an easy transition. So we definitely appreciate the example that you have always laid for us as far as your lineage and our legacy. And so that is a beautiful thing, which takes me to, I was a very young man at the time. I think in September, I was about 2 months into the Nation of Islam. As a young man, and there were already names because I was training, but there were already names that I had been made aware of learning karate at that time. And I was amazed as we look at this video to see those names that in my eyes were legendary, especially when it comes to Black martial artists. They were legendary. You had people in attendance like Master La Puppet, who was trained by the great Grandmaster, of course, Master Cofield. You had people like Shinan Pereira, Master Griffin. There were people there that I could only imagine to have an opportunity to cross paths with. And I imagine that them coming to that event, these were not men that someone like me would just say, hey, I'm having an event, and they would come. Obviously, their time is valuable. And so to be able to bring all of those martial artists together, can you tell us a little bit about the atmosphere, the relationships that were built, and the type of respect that existed upon that circle at that time?
My name is Thomas La Puppet, 52 years old. I've been in martial arts 31 years. My head instructor actually was George Cofield of Tong Dojo. I'm from that particular dynasty. And to be here this evening, to be recognized by my associates for whatever little I have done in the martial arts, it's always a pleasure to know that people still remember your name.
But I'm Professor Pereira, the headmaster of the Tremont organization, and the founder of Miyama-Ryu. They call me Shinan because that's my Japanese title. Shinan means founder, one who originates something, like Professor V.
Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. Let's start with Shinan Antonio Pereira. When we start with Grand Professor V, I wanted to really establish something because I knew, and I didn't have a lot of information about the relationship. I just knew that there was some strained relationship, but they knew each other many years ago. So I wanted to give a gift to Grand Professor V by asking or getting Shinan Pereira to come. But knew Shinan Antonio Pereira's student, who was a Minkyu, Lenny Holmes. He was a friend of mine, and he was also the training lead at Corrections Academy.
Wow.
So he was a lead trainer in the physical area, and he was a mentor of mine there, just coming up under him, and we really linked up really well. But he shared some things with me that I didn't know, and said some things in terms of there's some strains that were on in that relationship, in that lineage there. And I said I wanted to go. I want to meet him and talk to him and see about inviting him to the event. And I have to say that you're right. There's not, you couldn't just go and invite him.
Right.
No, and in fact, he really turned me down while I was there. I just refused to just accept it. And it went on, and to the point that he called me and he said, "Follow me." After I refused to just succumb to some statements that were made, he then saw that I wasn't going to go away like that, and took me into his office and began to show me pictures. And these pictures were pictures of him and Grand Professor V years earlier.
Wow.
And it was so profound. He showed pictures of Grand Professor V. He showed pictures of Grandmaster Ronald Duncan, just in a black belt and a black gi. And I mean, it was really, really amazing. And he said, "Young man, because of you, I'm coming to your event, and I'm bringing all of my students." He brought easily 75 black of his rank out. They brought family with them. It was incredible. So there's a number of persons, of course, that you had a Grandmaster. You had, oh my God, there was so many persons that we had there, and I'm gonna go through them as we go into it. But I'll just stop there so that you can ask me whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But on that point, we talk about martial arts royalty, and this being on the East Coast, which is arguably is, especially for Black martial artists, the mecca of the martial arts. Many of our Black pioneers in the martial artists, a lot of them got their start right there on the East Coast, and it kind of spread it across the country. So with that being said, not only in the martial arts community that was tight there, but there are people, of course, that you may not see, but people whose names are in lights right now that were in attendance as well. Who are some of those people, of course, beginning their journey in the martial arts, who fed from our lineage and absolutely from the Dr. Moses Powell? Who were some of those people that were there? Because there were a lot of people there.
A lot of people. We had Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef was there. You had, and I have to apologize. There are some that are there that I can't remember that was present. So those of you that are out there, please forgive me if I don't mention your name, but I think it was awesome. We had you mentioned just a moment ago, someone that you identify with as in karate, Thomas.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
man, such a beautiful person, an icon in the art. And, you know, where you're talking about his instructor being George Cofield, which was right there on St. Mark's and Flatbush.
Wow.
You know, these are persons that are near the dojo that we were in. You're talking about the Tong Dojo. You're talking about these places that are these schools that were, you know, really, really strong icons in the art. So there were a lot. Of course, you had Soke Little John Davis.
Absolutely.
You know, of course, my teacher like that. See, he became a teacher of mine through an incident. Now, he was always a teacher in the sense that he was a senior in the school to be. In fact, he was in the school. He would be teaching from time to time because he's traveling all around the country.
Yes,
but
sir.
A teacher of mine because an incident that happened in the dojo where, you know, there's always some challenges that happen from time to time. And I had started fighting in tournaments where no one, at least I thought no one knew, but I believe they knew. And I was asked to spar, and I did, and it didn't last very long, but Soke was off the mat and popped on the mat, and he began to, well, he asked me, you know, he says, show me what you did. You know, I really thought that was not, that he just wanted to tear up somebody else. This time. And that's what he did. So he taught me a lesson and then said, you come on and work with me. So Soke was there. Of course, my teacher, Dr. Moses Powell, was there. Even though there were those who may have been training longer than him, there were masters that were there that I had invited that had been training longer than him. But wherever Doc goes, it's like the drum roll happens. You know, he can't be someplace and not be a light or the light in the house. So of course he was on deck. You had in this particular piece, Warrington Hudlin.
Yes.
He was very strong in the film industry and a martial artist for many years as well, having studied under, and I was with him in many situations where he was studying under Soke Little John Davis. You know, so anyway, I guess maybe I'm kind of rambling, but it was so impactful, and so many came, and we had beautiful awards. I'll tell you someone who you may not see, but I invited him and he came. It was Wesley Snipes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. You know, this was during the time I had my company, security company, and I was on the film that Spike had done, where Wesley really got a big jump in his notoriety.
Yes, sir.
What was that called?
New Jack City?
New Jack City, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
And you know, we hit it off very, very well. Good brother. And I invited him out, and he came, and he was on the dais.
Yes, sir.
And in fact, I take it as, you know, I take it with great humility that the beautiful event that he gave, which was profound, he named it the same thing.
Absolutely.
masters. So, I was honored by that, just to know that he felt like that was something that was great, but he also made it a tremendous event as well.
Talk about some of your students over the years.
Well, actually, it's just like the state master, Lil John Davis, and Tony, who's presenting the thing, Muhammad Chief, my student from Atlanta, and many others I could go into. But I've touched a lot of people. Right.
Represent for this system.
Well, basically tonight, what's taking place is that we're trying to do something to structure what we might call a family tree, so that we could put things in this proper perspective, where that people know exactly who came from what and where. In terms of the old students and the new students, people are seeing things that they are not really are in terms of rank, and where some of the students got their ranks from, I'm still in shock. So it's basically to also for Professor V. He's 80 years old now, so God knows how long he's going to be here physically, but spiritually he'll always be with us. So just as a reunion to give Professor V, Professor Moses, and myself, this is showing.
Wow, absolutely. The impact of course, the doc and Professor V, but when we talk about the doc, his impact and influence, if it had to be calculated, it probably couldn't. All the people that were able to learn and display the greatness that he had, which of course takes me into, I really enjoyed watching the demo that was displayed there, not just enjoyed from a spectator perspective, but literally for me, that was like a mini seminar that had been that was taking place, and watching, of course, Professor V with the eskrima sticks and the knives, and then seeing Dr. Moses Powell working hard and so gracefully, and then you had an opportunity to see, of course, yourself. And I remember looking, when I saw you, I had to look at the video a couple of times. I was like, the mat is over there. He's not on the mat. and I believe there were so many more, and Soke Little John Davis, and beautifully displayed the two-man set with yourself and Soke at the end. Could you tell me a little bit about how that demo came about? It seemed like when you were doing it, and when it was in place, it was just so effortlessly, but it wasn't a demo from the perspective of, you see, it's one thing to do a demo in front of people who are not familiar with the martial arts, but you are doing demo in front of masters, people who are considered masters of their craft. And to have that type of admiration is a completely different admiration then it's like me cooking a dish, and maybe my sons or somebody saying, "Oh, Dad, that was great," and they're saying it because they're hungry. But to have a chef, a master chef, tell me that my food is delicious, it means something different. Could you tell us about how that demo came about and what was going on behind the scenes? Maybe some of the things that we didn't see, but it was executed flawlessly.
Okay, the person is going to be showing the armies and then the knife technique. This is Pakwa. With step one is able to use a knife or a piece of paper. Now we're going to use single stick technique. Again, pop up. Watch the movement. He's 80 years old and it hurts. The professor will be showing you knife technique. He's showing you the rubberized pop out of the knife. He's going slow so you can see. Watch the turning of the knife. Now it's going to simple. Cutting. Look at the cuts. Cutting the man's wrist, cutting his throat, poking him in the stomach, kicking him in the groin, and cutting his groin. His shoulder is gone. Cutting his wrist again, because that is the weapon. Again, when we do jujitsu, we should fall on concrete. Cutting him up again, his fingers are gone. Locking him, drawing him, breaking his fingers. Again, cutting those fingers, cutting that throat. Man is gone. We do overkill to make sure that the man is dead. Somebody says you just want to do too much overkill. You want to make sure you get it. You ain't get back up. Cutting in. Lock, throw. Cutting his throat. His throat is gone. Look at that. Look at that. Control, finger control. Now, empty hand.
Being bread. Thank you.
see real clear detail work. Full body control, take it in. That's always very smooth. Good. All right, good one.
So when you say the demo, just the movement that we're doing in that part of it.
Yes, sir.
Well, we worked it out. There was a student of Doc's that was with us, Harold Pearson. Harold Pearson was a proficient dancer. I mean, he was an incredible person who knew so many, who worked with the Sammy Davis Jr., the Jeffrey Holders, he was the Eartha Kitts, and he would talk to us about all of that, but he was one of Doc's black belts. And he was the one, you may see him in it a little, where he was helping to guide it. But we met to discuss the basic layout of what we were going to do. Of course, when it comes to Doc and everyone in terms of the demonstration, you gotta be ready. But you don't know who's gonna say yes, who's gonna say no. So we opened it. We had the plan together to do it, and clearly for my personal self, just doing the demo that I did. You're right. Just think about being in front of those people who have such a light and are recognized by so many already. So, in terms of the those that my demonstration, it was definitely, I may have looked like I was strong, but there was a lot of trepidation. It wasn't just done like I believed that I could do it in front of all of them. No, I was definitely just doing what I know what I've been taught, and I was prayerful that they would appreciate it. And I was so happy that, they showed that they liked what it was. But, one of the things that I did bring to that situation was the African drum.
Yes, it was beautiful.
The African drum. And, I don't know at that time if we had started doing musical forms, but that's something that I had brought in to the tournament arena that had not been done at that time, So in 90, I'm not really sure if we had already kicked off musical forms, but I just wanted to give a presentation that was a little different.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Speaking of the tournament form and the tournament circuit, guess there was some show enough fighters there. And of course, everybody knows Soke to be a fighter, but you had a man who's still young, but you had a younger Grandmaster Mutaka Beard who was there, and he made mention about fighting, and then you had Grandmaster Crossan who were there, and they made mention about in our training. And we have what we're doing in the dojo, but then you have what you can apply in a real life application. And of course, when you go to the tournament, there's an opportunity to get some application there. Can you tell us a little bit about those fighters there and how they were respected in the field of fighting?
Well, I mean, you're talking about fighting when there was no gear. I mean, there's no safety gear. The only safety gear you had was your own ability to block. That's your safety gear. You better block and whatnot. I want to also mention we had, forgive me for, I'm not sure, it should be Grandmaster Felix Vasquez. He was a student of Grandmaster Ronald Dunn.
To be together at this particular event, I think it was overdue, there is no way we can have so many brothers and sisters under the same roof. I've been in the martial law for the past 25 years. My ninja teacher is Master Duncan. I do Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, and we work closely with the community. But to have this affair, I'm telling you, I feel warm. I feel so happy. I can feel the energy. And all these brothers, I think we should have this every single month.
Working with Master Moses Powell has definitely been an enlightenment to me. He is one of the great inspirations in my life. I've met Master Moses for many years through my teacher, Master Abdul Azziz, and I started training with him back in the early 70s when I was a member of the Nation of Islam. What happened was I had fought in this tournament, one of his tournaments, and I broke a brother's nose, a Black Panther's nose, and the brother asked me, was I Muslim? I said, yes, sir. And Master Moses asked me to come train with him. So I went to train with him and so forth. When I came with a white belt on, and he smiled at me, he said, why did you come with a white belt? I said, because I emptied my cup to you, and I want to learn what you have to offer me. So I was the only white belt in this black belt class, and everybody made mockery of me. So they made mockery of me, and because they were doing the falls and the flips and the jiu-jitsu moves, and I didn't really know it. I came from just a Kumite school. So when it came time to fighting, there was this European in there named Louis Neglet, and he was beating all the brothers all over the place, and I asked the brother, can I get an opportunity to move around with him? So they looked at me as though I was crazy, and Master Moses came out and he said, let him move around. So I beat the white boy all over the place, and then all the brothers looked at me and asked me who was I, and I told them I was a black belt, and at that time, the name was Brother Monroe Morrow. And since then, everybody told me how to flip and fall and all kind of things like that. So that's how I became one of the families of the Sanukas family.
I worked close with Master Moses Powell because he made a believer out of me. And I couldn't understand how a man that big could be that fast, you see? And I thank God that we become friends over years, and he's a great man. Master B, I am also studying with right now. Master Little John Davis, I've known him for quite a while. And there's many, Lamar, all of these different people. And to see all of this talent in one place, I think that's a blessing from God. See, I believe in God. That's my thing. I love martial arts, but I feel that we're all brothers under God's sky. And if we will keep that in mind, martial arts will grow. There's no other way for it to grow.
Well, I've been involved in the martial arts for approximately 27 years. And of course, my teacher is Professor Musa, as well as Professor Florindo Visitation, as well as Professor or Master Little John Davis.
And in the 27 years you've been in martial art, what kind of changes have you seen?
Well, some of the changes that I've seen is that the martial arts has become more commercialized, and the martial artists of today are not as serious as martial artists of yesterday, should I say.
So he was present. There were so many others present there as well.
Beautiful. So before we bring this to a close, and I'm sure the viewers, if you're watching this, you are getting so much. I had the honor of having a conversation with GM, and for me, seeing this and you know, knowing that I told him that this piece that we're looking at now is such a jewel. It's like sitting at a card table playing with somebody and you don't know their deck is loaded because of the beautiful, of course, representation and the significance of this event in our lineage. And when we open up in the dojo, of course, we give courtesy to the creator, and the first person we give courtesy to is Grand Professor V. And I was listening to Grand Professor V when he was talking, and he had mentioned about the doc and Soke. He pointed out some characteristics, and he said they are very ambitious and very fast learners.
Yes.
And that of course, I don't think that was an understatement. Can you talk about, you know, as a student, when I've heard this over and over about the exceptionalism of the doc, and people say it over and over again, and the exceptionalism of Soke, Little John Davis. Can you talk about, because we're in the age of the internet, and we could go on and you can view old clips of Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, and because it's readily available to you, you know, you may pass on the significance of the talent that's in front of you. So when you're speaking about the exceptionalism of Dr. Moses Powell, and you're speaking about the exceptionalism of Soke Little John Davis, at that time, remember, this is being beholded live and living color, we've seen nothing like this before, especially coming from us. Could you tell us a little bit about that exceptionalism and what happened to people who looked at them for the first time, even martial artists? It reminds me of the minister when he speaks of certain individuals that he say that they were born to do what they are doing. Can you talk about that exceptionalism?
Tell me about some of your students, Professor Moses Powell and Little John Davis. Tell me about them as young students.
Oh yeah, when they met me, they were very young, but they were very ambitious, and they were one of my best students. And it's hard to believe, but they learned fast. And when they became good, and of course, Moses became a celebrity.
Absolutely. You know, you are, or you can be determined, you know, when you find people calling themselves masters. You're a master, but are you a master of the art in your performance? But are you, or are you a master that is a master because you've mastered in such a way that you can produce men like yourself and expand, you know, or introduce people like yourself that are powerful. So we look at the Soke Little John Davis, and you see that you have men that have been produced or they've been added on by him, and like Grandma Shabazz. He is someone who is a tremendous fighter, you know. But you see the power of a Soke Little John Davis who traveled around the country representing Sanukis, and even coming and producing a system, Kumiteru Jiu-Jitsu. So he was touched by Grand Professor V. He was touched by Doc. These are children, or well, I should say, Soke is a child of Doc, and you find that that Doc is a child of Grand Professor V. But look at the awesome expansion. You got Grandmaster Robert Sugar Crossan. You know, lightning hits normally one place. You know, one time.
Yes, sir.
But when you find that a man can produce, you know, can hit like that multiple times, and there are so many people that he has produced, you got to see that he's exceptional. He's powerful. And so he's an exceptional individual. He was someone that you would never believe. You would never believe that somebody would attempt to try to attack him because he was aura. But I gotta say, I remember that situation happened where some guys thought that they could get him. I think it was about 3 guys. They had weapons, you know, and, you know, of course, we find out that the situation happened. Doc broke him up, you know,
yes, sir.
There, but he didn't kill him. Had weapons. And I asked him when I was younger, I said, Doc, I said, you know, these guys attacked you and whatnot, and they have weapons. I said, and you didn't kill him. He said, because I didn't have to. You know, what he was capable of doing was enough to handle them in that situation without him using deadly physical force. I mean, many of us, if we were threatened by multiple attackers all having some kind of weapon, if we were able to take a weapon, we may use it because you don't know what's going on. Would you see yourself in disabling 3 of them and leaving them there in such a way because you just had the ability to do so? Well, he was an exceptional guy. He was
Yes, sir.
being under him, you know, as a child coming up and seeing him. He was always someone who, he was never one who showed me that or made me feel like I was beneath him.
Mm.
He knew he was called Master Musa at that time. And he would tell me, he would tell not just me, you know, some of the other younger students. He said, no, just call me Brother Moses.
Mm.
Call me Brother Moses. I said, yes, sir, Master Musa. To be respectful, and I wasn't going to reduce it, in my opinion. But anyway, he was exceptional, and it just lets you know too that the how it says the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm.
Grand Professor V was a producer of masters as well. It's just that Doc was most exceptional and created the greatest notoriety of his students. And Soke doing the same, and many. You got, see, out of Doc and Soke, you know, you get the Grandmaster Robert Crossings, you get the Grandmaster Abdul Azziz, you know, you get these other masters who have made a reputation that help to continue to expand and raise the name Sanukis. You know, so you know what you have going on and who you're working with by what they have done in this life that we are living in.
Beautiful, beautiful. As we bring this beautiful segment to a close, Grandmaster, I want to kind of go into, or as we close, in the way we finish. And the name of this piece that we're viewing is a tribute to the masters. And I remember being in class with you, and you were instructing us about our lineage. And as I spoke before, you always lead by example. So you never go anywhere without making sure that everybody realizes where you came, and it's indicative of the system, VSK. It's giving honor to our lineage. You teach us as students how important that lineage is in regard to how we identify to the art. And you had mentioned, I believe you said that if we cut off our lineage, then we're just left there with us, who in fact, I'm not saying your words directly, but really nobody, I mean, compared to the lineage that we came. I'm going to ask this question as we close on behalf of us as students. And when I say us as students, anybody who has a lineage, what does it tell you about a person, and in particular character, when with their approach to their lineage, whether they make sure that their lineage is respected and lives on, or whether if you don't know their lineage because they never speak of them? What does that tell you about the practitioner?
Yeah, that's a powerful and loaded question. Let me say this. Even when I say lineage is those that, of course, came before you. We can respect, we want to respect, or we keep lifting the name of the one who the matriarch is. But if you don't love the children, matriarch, I think that's a very serious blow to your own character, because lineage is from the beginning until now. It goes past you. I can't talk about those that just came before me. I appreciate those that came after me, or, because that's why I introduce all of you and my students to those that came before, so that we are all in the lineage, in the line.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, there are those who do not respect the lineage because we only want to be categorized by the matriarch.
Yes, sir.
We want to claim the matriarch without claiming his children. What kind of character does a man have that he say he loves the matriarch but doesn't care for his children?
Wow, teach.
So it is important. It is tremendously important to care. And I have to mention this individual here, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you, a little of my observation, and that is that he loves the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, loves him. But not only does he love him, he loves the offspring of him.
Wow. Yes, he does.
Even if there are those in the offspring that doesn't like him, he still loves them and looks out for the lineage. See, so that's the character of that kind of man has character. And if we, want to identify that, if we want our character to be one of great note, then we need to follow those who have done the best at that. So don't tell me that you care for Dr. Moses Powell if you don't love the offspring that he gave, that he produced. So let us do more to acknowledge the offspring along with the matriarch. That's all. I'll just say that.
I want to thank you all for coming out to be a part of this family. There is a few things that I just like to say, and the reason for bringing this together. We have masters here that have been in the art for many, many years, longer than I've been born, longer than I've been alive. And they are my inspiration. They are all about inspiration. We have to just understand that as we all have different expressions, they are all different styles. And the ultimate is all of us are one real system and one real family. What I'd like us all to do for a moment, the 14th is Master Love's birthday. Let's still say happy birthday. And to my other instructor, not another instructor, to my instructor, Professor Moses Powell.
I'm very impressed with Brother Tony's promotional expertise. I'm also feeling very good with the spirit that was passed through this entire room. Now, the brother spoke in terms of us coming together, and I think we did it tonight.
I'm just very happy to be at this event because this is indeed a lot of energy, a lot of power here, and it's indeed awesome.
To be gathered.
Are we really one family? We all say, look, let's give each other a round of applause.
That in and of itself is a book. So we absolutely appreciate that. And we appreciate you expressing and sharing this beautiful, beautiful jewel that you have. And I have to say to the viewing audience, according to our conversation, he has some more in the vault right now. So stay tuned to continue to get those jewels that are continually being offered. And again, this has been my honor and my privilege. I feel like one of those guest hosts on one of those major talk shows right now. And so with that being said, I know that we have, and it's been an incredible addition to Walking with the Master, Mama Aziza and Master Andrew Reed. They're coming up. So you all stay tuned to make sure that you get this beautiful counterpart to your training to keep you around as long as you want to be around to enjoy the training. Grandmaster, thank you for the opportunity to have this discussion. And do you have any closing words as we transition?
Well, I want to thank everyone for also coming to be a part of your show, your podcast, Walking with the Master. I'm grateful to you, my beautiful brother, and student, for taking on the responsibility of sitting in the seat that I normally sit in, and interviewing me in this particular way. I thank you, and may Allah continue to bless you. And I pray that your travel through this art, it continues to be satisfactory and a blessing to others, as you have been doing. And you are about to have a newborn in just a minute, right?
Yes, sir. Literally, probably just a minute.
Maybe right now. Who knows?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hurry up and get off of this show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Stay tuned for the beautiful health benefits brought to you by Mama Aziza and Master Andrew Reed. Us.
Welcome back to the Healthy 15-minute segment of Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad's podcast. We want to thank you again for tuning in, and we truly appreciate the comments that you put in the thread for us. And we're going to address some of those comments today in our segment. I want to thank Grandmaster Abdul Azziz for allowing us to bring some information to you that we know will help to qualify or to add quality to your life. So let's begin, because we have Master Andrew Reed out of Naples, Florida, again, sharing his healthy tidbits from the aspect of herbs and the proper foods and so on and so forth that can help you, the martial artist, really gain control of your habits so that you can not only teach better, you can live better, okay? And live longer. That's what we want to see. So I'm going to open up for Master Andrew to take it away. Welcome, Master Andrew.
Greetings and blessings again, Grandmaster Aziz and Sister Aziza. Thank you again for this platform to express and to help people out there who are, they're really, really fired up. They're asking questions. They're, people are telling their results and their testimony and stuff like that. So, this is what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
Helping one another, each one teach one, So that's where we're at. In this segment, I often, when I go to seminars, I often And this is something happens not only in seminars, but when we go to other events or other work related activities, that we just go out and we just eat because we're hungry. It's true. We just go out and we just eat because we work so hard during the day that we go out and we just eat. But remember, when we go out to these restaurants and we eat, they do not regulate their sodium. They're making the food on a big scale and on almost an industrial level. You know what I mean? They're not catering for you alone that you're cooking. They're catering for the masses of the people. So sometimes we have to watch our sodium. We have to watch our sodium. And, you know, we know what sodium does. Salt was a preservative way back in the day.
Yes, sir.
They used to use it to preserve meat, you know, fish. I mean, it was a preservative. Now, you know, it's not way back in those days anymore. It's modern day today. Things have changed. So we have to use less sodium, especially in the regions that we're living in.
Yes, sir.
You know, so we have to watch our sodium intake. Add more fruits to your diet. When we cook, remember, that's why we use seasonings. It's to give flavor and to add different element that would help the food enhance and give us better nutrients from the food we eat. So, you know, like for us here in Florida, right?
Yeah.
We breathe this salt. In the Caribbean, we breathe this salt. Every day we get up, we breathe this salt. So we have to really watch out for the salt we have and we're intake. You know, up north, I mean, up where you guys are from, I don't know if there's, you know, I'm not well educated about that side.
Well, no, we got the Michigan Lake, so it's not so, not the salt water.
So, you know, we still have to watch our salt during also our lineage. You know, we suffer from, you know, high blood pressure. That's a part of the sodium, you know.
Yes.
So even though we're adding herbs and we're drinking teas, we still have to not do the exact same thing we're doing, expecting great results. You have to cut back on what you're doing. And always remember, sweating, when you perspire, when you sweat, that's taking out sodium out your body also. It's good to sweat.
Yes, sir. And I know some people who don't sweat when they're working out. And man, I never did understand, you know, like, why don't they sweat? And what happens to, you know, all of the toxins? Well, I know what happens, but I'm just saying, you know, naturally they don't sweat.
It's surprising, you know. I mean, you have some people that their genes, you know, they don't allow them to sweat that much. That's when people like those kind of find a sauna and make sure your body is sweating and drink enough water and work your body hard enough that it sweats. You know, you got to get out your comfort zone a little bit and work your body a little bit harder so you sweat. But the sodium content is what we are. Everything we touch now has sodium. Everything. Even the very fertilizer we use in the ground has sodium. So just think how much sodium you already have in the food that you're going to eat, and then you add sodium to it.
Right. So there's really like, I mean, it's really extremely difficult or impossible to cut out all the sodium. But, you know, for people who suffer with high blood pressure, say, and those probably were some of the people who put into the comments and asked the questions about it because they realized that they've been on a quest, you know, to eliminate a lot of that from their diet so their blood pressure can go down. So, I mean, but there's several things that they can do in place of it, right? So would you like to share some of those things that they can do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, You know, when you have to learn that your taste buds, they get used to things, and then they start kind of get unsensitive to what, you know what I mean? Because if you get a hot cup of tea and you burn your tongue, for a while, you're not going to really taste anything. And if you keep drinking hot stuff, you get used to it.
Yes, sir.
That's how smart the body is. So if you keep having spicy stuff, then after a while, your mouth is going to get used to it. But that doesn't mean your body can deal with it. So now you have the sodium. You start tasting. You have to literally use more seasoning and less sodium. Onions, garlic, ginger, turmeric, paprika. Make sure you add your carrots to bring out the natural sweet. Make sure you add your cucumber. You know, we have to cook with what we have.
That's very, you know, I know a lot of people who cook. And well, let's just go back to when we're going to all of these seminars, and we got to go out and eat. Like you said, you know, the restaurants, they're not gonna, the chef is not gonna cook necessarily like you cook at home. They may not even use the ingredients that you have because they're feeding on an industrial level. So you got to consider cost. So, you know, they want the food to taste good. That's the important thing, because that's what keeps people coming back. So that's why you have food that's laden with a lot of sodium, a lot of sugar, because it tastes good. But then there's some restaurants, very choicey restaurants, that consider the health issue involved, you know. So you can, if you can afford these restaurants, if you have the availability to go to them, if they're present, then that would be the place we have to make smarter choices, you know. So we're not going to go through the restaurants that have drive-throughs. You know, man, maybe that's something that we could say, okay, no drive-throughs for my food. And that could be a beginning of the process of changing your lifestyle and eliminating, you know, harmful things for you at home.
I agree with you, but I have one more little thing to add to it, because I'm always disturbing the waters. You know, I'm always kind of roughing up the waters a little bit, but this is what I would say. We have to kind of go more towards the people who are organizing these seminars.
Interesting.
They have to charge enough to bring a healthy catering system within that seminar.
That's interesting. I like that.
I think that that's the only way you can preserve and work those people as hard, because you know exactly what they're intaking.
Well, you know, yeah, that's disturbing the waters, because there's a lot of stuff involved with that. You know what I mean? From someone who has, you know, been working with my husband for many years doing seminars in different locations, different things that we can and we cannot do. But that's very interesting, and we definitely have to look at that. If you have the ability to control what your guests eat, then, you know, by all means, you know, but still, we're going to have people who are not going to be satisfied because they want that salt and they want that sugar. So we've got to get them to a point where they're not craving it anymore. You know what I do, Master Reed, at home? I don't use regular salt. I will use the Himalayan pink salt, but I use Celtic sea salt. Celtic sea salt, because of its properties and its high mineral content, and it even enhances one's mood. I mean, it's so essential to our body. The nutritional content of it is so essential for several things that I'll use the Celtic sea salt, and I don't use regular salt. Okay, so we have some options. And yes, I will use more of the other seasonings like the garlic and the paprika and the turmeric and things like that to give the food its taste. Because one thing for sure is when we eat, we want it to taste good. Our mind says, yeah, we got to get nutrition, but on top of that, this food better taste good.
And that's one of the most important part of it. We have to readjust our taste buds to keep our body healthy. Now, we need to give options of healthy foods. We're going to a seminar to learn technique. We're not going there to eat. So what the food is provided, we're supposed to trusting that it's going to be nutritious, give us the energy we need. So if you go to a seminar, you're going for the whole entire experience, and that might change your whole entire eating habit, because you will taste the food. You won't be bloated because of the sodium and all the sugar. And we keep it simple. You don't have to have 10 things on the menu. You can have 2.
You know, you just gave me an idea, and something that we definitely should explore, because our seminars, and especially, you know, with my husband carrying the Each One Teach One United Schools of Survival, this is another school of survival that would be absolutely wonderful to put into our training sessions over the weekend when we do our weekend seminars, because you know, it's just necessary for survival. And absolutely. Yeah, you know, things have been changing over the years, and what we had available to us 40, 50 years ago is not the same. You know, things are different. You know, that one carrot that gave you some nutrition 50 years ago is not giving you the same nutrition today, you know, and in order to really come up to the times that we're living in, the environment that is affecting our bodies, we need to change some things. So yeah, we definitely need to talk about it. We need to find someone like yourself and others who are very, you know, have experience and expertise in these areas to share the information so that we can live longer to continue the legacy of our teachers. You know, we want to carry on the legacy of Dr. Moses Powell, the legacy of Grand Professor V, the legacy of Sophie Little John. Whoever your teacher is, you want to be able to carry on the legacy in the best shape and the best mental capacity, as well as your skills. So we've got to start from inside out. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree 100%. But again, each one teach one. Now, I will challenge every single person that puts on a seminar. This is my challenge to you. I challenge you that within your group of people that you have more than 2 people that can cook.
Okay. Okay. I accept the challenge for Grandmaster Abdul Azziz. I accept it.
And you have those 2 people to designate. They are in charge of that every seminar. They keep the link with one another each seminar you go. So when you go somewhere, you know what you're gonna eat. You know what's there. You know, that's not a worry anymore. You get to do your thing. People don't see you get tired. And you're eating good. You're getting the good natural juices. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You'd have your coconut water instead of Gatorade. You know, you have your ginger juice just in case somebody feel bad. You give them a shot of ginger juice, they feel good, they're back on the floor because the chef is there. So I know within every seminar and the organizers of these seminars, I'm sure, check in your group if you don't have 2 good chefs. And then you create a natural menu. and they'll love it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
challenge you all out. And you
All
see
right,
how
heard
easy
it.
it is.
Master Reed is challenging us. So in order to accept the challenge, though, if we're not already challenging ourselves individually, we have to start there. Right?
And it's that time of day again.
So, Master Reed, since we were talking about sodium and finding ways to eliminate our sodium, then, you know, we talked about replacing the salt with certain herbs and seasonings, but that means we have to get rid of the processed stuff.
That's out the door.
Yeah.
That was out the door from the lemon and water.
Exactly. But we got to remember that that's another thing that we have to get rid of if we are struggling with our sodium intake. You know, those bags of chips, or even the canned foods, as you spoke about a week or so ago, the canned foods. Now, trust me, you know, I know that for survival and being able to survive in a time where food is now not plentiful, I'll store some stuff. I'll get some stuff that I store in cans, but that's like when there's no food available, okay? But I'll also can my stuff myself so that I
perfect.
Yes, so that I can have the best of foods during those times. Because if we want to survive, of course, I don't want to survive on stuff that's going to kill me anyway. I want to be able to survive with the good stuff. So I'll can my stuff. I'll freeze dry my stuff, whatever it takes. So we really need to get to that, even though it's a lot of work.
We got to get to it.
It's necessary.
We have to get to it, and you're 100% right. If you can take 1 hour out of the day to prepare 10 pickled, or, you know, just seal them up yourself, you're going to have less sodium in them than the company, because you're not trying to preserve for it to last forever.
Right.
You're preserving it and you're dating it for a certain time. But I want to challenge. I want to say one more thing about this challenge that I put out there. I guarantee you this challenge is going to save you so much more money than you spend in a restaurant, or than you pay for a catering company. We have to use the people we have.
Mm-hmm.
Each one, you know, there's a saying, one hand washes the other.
Yes, sir.
So 2 hands can wash the plate.
Yes, sir. That's right.
That's where this should be. That's where we are we should be in the martial arts community.
Right.
You know.
So I'm gonna tell you one of the things that I've put my husband on to eliminate some of the sodium and also the fat. But there's other reasons why, and you'll find out when you do think about eliminate some of the sodium and some of the fat, you'll find that you're eliminating some other things that can be poisonous to your system, like cheese. Okay. I like cheese, and my husband loves cheese. But of course, the more you eat, the more sodium intake, the more fat, and then it causes more inflammation. So think about even some of those natural things, you know, like, and since he loves cheese, I'll try to find the cheese with the less amount of sodium.
Yeah, I mean, less amount of sodium. I mean, cottage cheese, I guess. I mean, it has less sodium.
Cream cheese, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But these are some of the natural things we might eat, and we think, okay, it's okay. But you got to look at the sodium intake in these cheeses too, because some of them we get, you know, I mean, they're processed too.
Yes, they are.
You know, so I don't know. Is it about, you know, is it about that time yet?
It is that time.
Because I know we're not trying. We said we're going to take small steps, right?
Yeah.
Small steps. We want to take the hand
Yes.
And take small steps.
And you know, we talk about the different herbs and seasoning to use in your foods that enhance the natural sodium, you know, in the next segment. You know, it's been a great feedback from the people. I mean, I love the feedback. People are getting from point A to point B and actually start learning about their own bodies. So that's what we're doing, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I truly appreciate you, and every time you get on here, I'm learning. I'm not just learning something else, but I'm being challenged to better what I'm doing, you know, to just get better at what I'm doing and to do something different. So today I have to take my Cerecy, which I will take when I go home. I did remember to drink my ginger before I ate last night.
Very good.
And
Very good.
my dinner, I couldn't wait to eat because I went all day, you know, and when I went home to eat, I had a nice big bowl of bean soup. It was so good. It was so good.
And because of the ginger, you didn't feel bloated?
No, absolutely not. And that's really key, because when I was away over the weekend, I didn't have it. And, you know, yes, I felt bloated. So I will remember to take that ginger today as well. And, you know, it's just getting in the habit of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Getting in the habit of doing it. And I got to just have the habit of doing it so that I could feel the way I want to feel after I eat. Mm-hmm.
I think.
Oh, you know what else I did to eat? I made my own veggie burgers from the juice that I made for my husband. I had taken the pulp, and, you know, I put the pulp up to freeze it, and I had beet juice, beets that I juiced, the garlic. No, I didn't use garlic, but I put garlic in it. The juice was beets, carrots, apples, celery, and ginger. Those were all the things that I put in there. I don't think I left something out. Oh, yes, I did. I left out spinach. I left out the spinach. So I juiced that, and then I seasoned it with some sauteed garlic. No, actually, I didn't saute the garlic. I put the garlic in chopped up. But I sauteed some of the carrots, and I sauteed it with carrots, onions, and bell peppers. And I used granulated garlic, little sage, cumin, turmeric, a little pepper, some Celtic sea salt. And then I put that in with the pulp, and I added an egg, and I added some cassava flour and some gluten-free breadcrumbs, and I made me a veggie patty, and it was the bomb.
Now, see, now I'm gonna withdraw the challenge from you, you see?
Say that again?
I gotta withdraw the challenge from only you, because you see, you didn't tell me you could do all of that.
Oh!
You see, that's what I'm talking about. Think about what you just said. In the morning, we get the juice to drink, and we get to eat burgers for lunch. It's perfect.
Yeah. I just decided to do that because it just looked like too much good food to waste.
It is. That's what I'm saying. You just showed so many people that in the morning we are at a seminar, we get this juice, this great juice in the morning. Mm-hmm. And we use what's left for our lunch. Mm-hmm. Veggie burgers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And whoever wants a turkey burger can get one too, but now we have the option of getting our veggie burgers. Yes. Whoever wants a chicken burger can go and get one, but we have the option to drink the juice in the morning feel powerful, do our workout, get thrown all over the place by our grandmasters, and then go to lunch.
Yes. Yeah.
So
matter of fact, I actually put some oats in that too, and I put it through my food processor.
So here we go. You know, I mean, right now and then you can see that it's not really that hard because you were going to go out in the street and spend money to buy a burger, and you had it right there.
Right. Yes.
So right here is a prime example. So you have a nice juice in the morning, which is all sorts of juice, all sorts of nutrients, and you have enhanced that with the burger. And then by 5 o'clock, we're eating a good meal, right? And then we digest that by 7, 8 o'clock. We might have a cup of tea, and then boom, by 9:30 we're in bed. Tomorrow morning we get like a stick of dynamite ready. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You just brought out in the practical what we were saying in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, with that, what are we going to leave our wonderful viewers with?
All we got is love. We ain't got nothing more. That's all we got.
Okay.
All we have is love.
Yes, yes, sir. And love is all we need. Thank you, Master Reed. I really appreciate doing this segment with you. And I pray that everyone has received something that they could take that will make a difference in their lives. And we always want everyone, whatever it is that you learn that is good, to go out and share it with someone. Each one teach one. Thank you, Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad. I'll turn it back over to you. Peace.
Every student of a master here today, you reflect your master teacher. You want to walk like him. You want to talk like her. But you start by having an object in front of you that you admire.